The door is open.
And record is on.
So far, no people in yet.
Oh.
But they will come.
Money is
Now, the first ones are coming in. Daniel ist da, Arndt ist da.
Okay.
Einen wunderschönen guten Tag zusammen schon mal. Also nicht wundern, liebe Zuschauer, ihr seht nichts, ihr hört hoffentlich was. Doch, ihr seht was, wir sehen euch nicht. So rum ist es. Und ich habe einfach die Tür schon mal aufgemacht, damit ihr den Christoph, den Joan und den Nanni seht. Den Nanni verstecke ich gleich wieder. Der wird im Hintergrund mit dabei sein. Aber der Zuschauerraum füllt sich. Alex, Arndt, Daniel, Elke. Wundert euch nicht, dass ich euch einfach alle duze. Ihr wisst eh nicht, wer hinter dem Vornamen steckt, meistens. Insofern keine Angst. Ihr könnt auch Fragen stellen jederzeit. Ihr seht hier unten, da ist ein Punkt, der nennt sich in der deutschen Einstellung F&A. Das steht für Frage und Antwort. Dort könnt ihr einfach eine Frage einstellen, die wir dann zwischendurch beantworten werden oder auch erst am Ende. Es kommt darauf an, wie die Frage passt. Ihr könnt aber auch über die Chat-Funktion, die auch dort unten ist, nennt sich Chat, einfach eine Nachricht an uns schicken, sagen Hallo, schön, dass ihr da seid oder was auch immer. Ich freue mich, dass so viele jetzt schon dabei sind. Also jetzt wird es mehr, klar. In Deutschland ist man pünktlich. Es ist 3 Minuten vor 7. Wir haben gesagt, um 7 fangen wir an und ja, das ist, der Zuschauerraum füllt sich. Wie im guten Kino. Nani, I will now switch off your video, so don't be angry at me. Okay. So, ja. Da kommt immer mehr dazu. Ich sage nochmal einen wunderschönen guten Abend. Montagabend hier aus dem Rheinland. Bisschen trübes Wetter, aber trotzdem ordentlich warm. 21 Grad, passt ja. Warten noch 2, 3 Minuten, bevor wir offiziell beginnen, bevor ich auch die Runde vorstelle und auch bevor ich mit dem Livestream beginne, weil das Ganze wird live übertragen auf Facebook, auf der Facebook-Seite von Deuner. Es wird auch bei mir auf der Seite übertragen. Bei YouTube wird zu sehen sein. Also es wird auch von außen Zuschauer geben. Aber es ist so, dass ihr, also ihr Zuschauer, ihr seid in eurer Privatsphäre absolut geschützt. Keiner kann euch sehen, keiner kann euch hören. Wenn etwas Spezielles ist, wie gesagt, ihr könnt eure Fragen dort unten stellen, die wir gerne beantworten werden. Es soll ja auch interaktiv sein. Ich werde auch gleich am Anfang mit mit einer kleinen Umfrage beginnen, damit wir auf dieser Seite vom Bildschirm etwas mehr über euch erfahren. Einfach damit wir wissen, okay, wie viele Leute sind da hinter dem Bildschirm, ob ihr mitverkostet oder nicht. Also das sind die kleinen Sachen, die wir dann machen werden. Aber wir haben noch 2 Minuten bis zur offiziellen Startzeit. Es sind schon viele da, was natürlich super schön ist. Und ja, ihr seht, die Hintergründe sind sehr verschieden. Wenn ihr genau darauf achtet, genau, also darauf, in der Ecke da sitzt Joan, aber er sitzt da original, ich sitze hier virtuell. Also es ist leider nicht so, dass ich gerade im Terra Alta bin, dass ich bei Joan im Büro bin oder auf dem Weingut bin, sondern ich habe einfach mir dieses schöne Bild in den Hintergrund eingeblendet und werde nachher auch in einem weiteren Part hinten ein Video laufen lassen, dass ihr einfach auch mal die Region um das Weingut sehr schön sehen könnt. So, jetzt nochmal, weil wir jetzt genau 19 Uhr haben, einen wunderschönen Namen zusammen. Nochmal für die, die etwas später dazu gestoßen sind, also nicht später, sondern ihr seid ja alle super pünktlich, die jetzt erst dazu gestoßen sind. Wenn ihr Fragen stellen wollt, könnt ihr das sehr gerne machen. Dafür ist hier unten der Punkt F&A für Fragen und Antworten. Dort könnt ihr Fragen stellen, schriftlich. Ihr könnt dort auch sogenannte dumme Fragen stellen, weil nur wir auf dieser Seite sehen die Fragen, werden sie dann beantworten, entweder im Verlaufe der Session oder am Ende der Session, aber wir werden sie auf jeden Fall beantworten. Insofern seht ihr einfach, ihr seid in eurer Privatsphäre absolut geschützt. Ihr könnt auch unten in diesem Bereich Chat gerne was reinschreiben, einfach ein kurzes Hallo oder was auch immer, wie ihr Lust habt. Ich werde jetzt noch zum Start eine kurze Umfrage machen, wie ich angekündigt habe, bevor wir dann live gehen. Ich starte jetzt die Umfrage. Da geht es einfach darum, aus welchem Bereich ihr kommt, ob ihr private Weinliebhaber seid oder ob ihr Profis aus verschiedenen Bereichen seid, mit wie vielen Leuten ihr gerade zuschaut, wie eure Erfahrung mit den Weinen aus Terra Alta ist, ob ihr die Weine kennt, ob ihr die Weine von Edetária kennt und natürlich, ob ihr mitverkostet oder auch nicht. Parallel dazu werde ich jetzt auch live gehen, in der Zeit, wo ihr diese Fragen beantwortet. Das dauert immer einen kleinen Moment. Bis es dort auch wirklich alles verbunden ist. Aber ich sehe schon, ihr beantwortet die Fragen sehr fleißig. Das finde ich super. So, der Streaming-Monitor. Deswegen schaue ich gerade zur Seite. Also es soll keine Unhöflichkeit sein, sondern ich arbeite hier mit mehreren Bildschirmen. Deswegen schaue ich manchmal zur Seite und ich sehe, dass das Streaming funktioniert. Es läuft. Es sind auch schon die ersten dabei, die über die Streaming-Plattformen zuschauen, was ich hier auch sehe, aber das nur ganz am Rande. Im Chat ist noch Angeles, Saludos desde Hamburgo. Ja, Saludos Angeles, schön, dass du dabei bist, freut mich sehr, freut uns sehr. Und während ihr noch die Fragen beantwortet, möchte ich auf der einen Seite Juan vorstellen, der hier mit dabei ist. Very welcome, Juan. I'm very happy that you're with us.
Thank you very much, Pierre. It's my pleasure to be with all the German friends.
That's great to hear. Wie ihr hört, schalte ich dann auf Englisch um, wenn wir mit Juan reden, weil Deutsch zu sprechen mit Juan wäre eine sehr große Herausforderung, genauso als würde Juan mit uns auf Katalan reden, was, glaube ich, für die meisten von uns eher unverständlich wäre.
We can try.
Auch mit dabei ist Christoph Schönegger,
Hallo.
Sommelier und einer der wichtigen Vertriebler oder der wichtige Vertriebler bei der Firma Deuner, wenn ich das richtig sehe.
Wir geben uns Mühe.
Super. Jetzt haben fast alle die Umfrage beantwortet. Dann werde ich auch diese jetzt beenden und dann die Ergebnisse mit euch teilen. Also, 68% der Teilnehmer sind Profis aus dem Bereich Wein- und Getränkehandel. Es sind andere Profis dabei, Freelancer, Berater oder auch aus der Gastronomie und auch private Weinliebhaber. Die meisten sind alleine da, aber auch Gruppen von 3, 4 bis zu 5 oder 5 und mehr Leuten sind dabei, was natürlich schön ist, wenn man sich in so einer Gruppe wieder zusammenfindet und dann gemeinsam auch verkosten kann. Erfahrung mit Weinen aus dem Terra Alta allgemein, ganz wenig Erfahrung, bei 32%, gar keine Erfahrung, bei 26%, aber auch umfassende Erfahrung, umso schöner, dass ihr dabei seid. Ich denke, so eine Erfahrung kann man dann auch gerade im Gespräch mit dem Winzer nochmal sehr schön auffrischen und nochmal vertiefen. Hier sehen wir auch die Erfahrung mit den Weinen von der Edetária selber. Ist natürlich auch umfassende Erfahrung, 32%, keine Erfahrung, 32%. Ich denke, die meisten, die Erfahrung mit Weinen aus Terra Alta haben, kennen eigentlich Edetária, weil es eigentlich das renommierteste Weingut dort in der Region ist. Sehr schön ist, dass über 50% der mitverkostet. Sehr spannend, auch dass die andere Hälfte nicht mitverkostet und trotzdem dabei ist. Was natürlich super schön ist, dass ihr euch einfach diese Zeit nehmt, hier mitzuhören, mitzumachen und auch sicherlich gleich Fragen stellen könnt. So, ich werde jetzt noch eine kleine Einführung machen, dahingehend, dass ich allgemein über Spanien, über den Weinbau in Spanien etwas erzähle, sodass man Terra Alta einordnen kann und auch das Thema, wo Terra Alta ist, etwas auf die Rebsorten, auf die Böden eingehen, bevor wir in die Verkostung und natürlich auch in die Diskussion mit Juni gehen. Dafür werde ich jetzt meinen Bildschirm freigeben und den seht ihr jetzt. Da ist jetzt das Titelbild zu sehen und ich gehe auch direkt weiter auf die nächste Seite. Spanien, Zahlen und Fakten, einfach so ein bisschen mal vom allgemeinen Wissen. Eine parlamentarische Erbmonarchie, Hauptstadt ist Madrid im Zentrum, also hier gut zu sehen. Und Barcelona hier in der Mittelmeerküste sind die beiden einzigen Millionenstädte in Spanien. Fläche ist 505.000 Quadratkilometer groß, fast 506.000 Quadratkilometer groß, also deutlich größer wie Spanien, aber hat fast nur fast halb so viel Einwohner wie Deutschland. Das heißt, wir haben eine relativ lose, wie sagt man, eine sehr lockere Bevölkerung. Aber wir haben natürlich auch die Bereiche wie in Madrid selber oder Barcelona, wo es sehr verdichtet ist. Also man sieht es hier auch sehr schön, bis zu 755 Einwohner je Quadratmeter. Dafür gibt es halt auch sehr ländliche Gebiete, wo man fast keine Leute findet. Wichtig, um Spanien zu verstehen, ist, dass man sich einfach mal vor Augen führt, dass das Zentrum Spaniens ein großes Hochplateau ist, die sogenannte Meseta, mit einer Höhe von 500 bis 900 Metern. Das ist schon verdammt hoch. Und wenn man dann noch die ganzen Berge außenrum sieht, das iberische Randgebirge, das geht eben mal auf 2350 Meter hoch. Das kastilische Scheidegebirge geht auch auf knapp 2600 Meter hoch. Von Madrid aus gen Nordwesten fahren, da muss man erstmal durch die Berge. Für die Madrileños ein Skigebiet, ohnegleichen. Dann haben wir das kantabrische Küstengebirge mit über 2600 Meter Höhe, mit den Picos de Europa. Dann haben wir die Pyrenäen natürlich, die Grenze zu Frankreich, die natürlich mit 3400 Metern. Dann die Sierra Nevada, der höchste Punkt auf dem spanischen Festland, weil es gibt noch, auf den Inseln gibt es noch höhere Punkte, aber die Sierra Nevada mit knapp 3500 Meter ist der höchste Punkt auf dem spanischen Festland. Und dort kann man auch im Sommer noch in den Bergen den Schnee sehen, wenn man von Granada aus guckt. Spanien ist damit das zweithöchste Land Europas mit einer durchschnittlichen Höhe von etwa 660 Metern über Meeresspiegel. Man merkt es meistens nur nicht, weil wenn man nach Madrid einfliegt und dann gen Süden fährt, hat man einen kleinen Hubbel, über den man fährt, aber das ist halt alles eine Hochebene hier. Die Bergketten schirmen die Meseta ab, dadurch gibt es halt sehr hohe Niederschläge in den Küstengebirgen durch die aufsteigenden Winde und der Faktor Höhe im Zentrum sorgt dafür, dass man sehr kühle Nachttemperaturen hat. Und durch diese Vielfalt an Klimabedingungen haben wir auch sehr unterschiedliche Weinstile. Zu den Klimabedingungen hier nochmal eine kurze Übersicht. Wir sehen hier den atlantischen Bereich oben im Norden, Nordwesten mit Regen von 1500 mm Niederschlag, aber das ist teilweise echt nur ein ganz dünner Bereich und dann kommt schon die Meseta hier mit dem kontinentalen Klima, mit extremen Temperaturamplituden von Tag zu Nacht, von Sommer zu Winter. Dann haben wir das mediterrane Klima, das hier die ganze Küste entlang geht, die Balearen gehören dazu und das zieht sich über das Ebrotal auch weit ins Landesinnere. Das ist das mediterrane Klima mit warmen Sommern und milden Wintern. Und dann haben wir hier unten noch die heißeste Region, wo es dann auch mal 47 Grad und mehr werden kann in den ganz heißen Sommern. Wichtig ist aber, dass dieser dünne Bereich hier am Rand wirklich nur ein schmaler Bereich ist. Und sobald man etwas ins Hinterland fährt, kommt man in die Höhe und sofort wird das kontinentale Klima deutlich spürbar. Spanien hat weiterhin die weltweit größte Anbaufläche, obwohl es nur noch knapp 960.000 Hektar sind. China ist groß am Aufholen, also es wird wahrscheinlich in einigen Jahren so sein, dass China weltweit die größte Rebfläche hat, aber ja, Spanien ist weiterhin dabei. Davon sind 580.000 Hektar für Qualitätswein klassifiziert und die Öko-Rebfläche beläuft sich auf 84.000 Hektar, wobei ich davon ausgehe, dass sich diese Zahl inzwischen deutlich erhöht hat. Dann gibt es die Landweingebiete und die DOPs, wobei die DOPs sind unterteilt in Vino de Calidad. Die findet man eigentlich in Deutschland auf dem Markt extrem selten. Dann die klassischen DOPs, DOs, 67 an der Zahl. Dann gibt es die 2 DOCs, also Rioja und Priorat, und die 19 Vino de Pagos. Vino de Pagos sind ja einzelne Denominaciones, in der Regel außerhalb der normalen DO-Gebiete. In Katalonien ist es etwas anders. Da haben wir eine neue Regelung, die nennt sich Vidifinca. Das sind also innerhalb der DOs in Katalonien sind es spezielle Fincas, die eine Bezeichnung haben, beispielsweise El Mas, Edetária, Selectio, den wir auch dabei haben. Das ist also eine eigene DO schon wieder. Das sind diese 12 Vidifincas, die es in Katalonien gibt. Da werden wir auch gleich nochmal drauf zu sprechen kommen. Spanien hat sich vom Weinbau in den letzten 25 Jahren deutlich verändert, durch geänderte Konsumgewohnheiten, durch neue Kellertechniken. Heutzutage sind knapp 180 Rebsorten registriert und in Produktion, davon grob die Hälfte als weiße Rebsorten und die andere Hälfte als rote Rebsorten. Die Verbreitung internationaler Rebsorten, also wie Chardonnay, Cabernet, Merlot etc., beläuft sich weiterhin auf unter 10% der Gesamtrebfläche, ist jedoch steigend. Gefühlt ist dieser Anteil höher, weil auf den Qualitätsweinen, auf den DO-Weinen die Namen oft erscheinen. Aber wir dürfen nicht vergessen, dass in Spanien natürlich auch eine große Menge an Wein produziert wird, der nicht als Flaschenwein vermarktet wird. Kommen wir zur DO Terra Alta. Wir sind also in der Region Katalonien, hier als Europa. Da unten haben wir Katalonien, die Grenzregion zu Frankreich. Das ist Katalonien. Da liegt die Region Terra Alta. Gehen wir mal ein bisschen näher rein. Hier haben wir Barcelona, Tarragona. Also Terra Alta ist die Grenzregion, die gerade noch in Katalonien liegt. Und wir sehen auch deutlich, nicht am Mittelmeer, sondern im Hinterland. Weil Terra Alta heißt ja auch übersetzt das Hochland. Und das Hochland der Terra Alta wird von Bergketten auf der einen Seite, vor allem hier unten im Süden, und auf der anderen Seite vom Ebro umgrenzt. Mediterran mit deutlich kontinentalem Einfluss. Also wirklich auch diese kurze Entfernung. Wir haben zwar noch Mediterranes, auch gerade durch den Ebro, der hier vorbeikommt, aber die Berge hier schirmen das Mittelmeer wieder ab und dadurch haben wir auch wirklich dieses kontinentale Klima. Und hier sehen wir noch näher dran. Hier ist Terra Alta, hier haben wir den Parc Natural Port, das ist ein Gebirge und der hält den Regen ab, der vom Mittelmeer herkommen würde. Einfach so ein bisschen als Orientierung. Hier beispielsweise ist Falset. Falset liegt in Montsant und direkt neben Falset ist auch die Region Priorat, die ja viele Leute auch kennen. Also letztendlich auf der anderen Seite vom Ebro, ganz in der Nähe von Priorat, von Montsant, ist diese Region Terra Alta. Hier fließt der Ebro lang. Und hier haben wir diese Region Terra Alta. 12 Bodenarten gibt es, vor allem lehmige Kalkböden mit Kiesauflage. Das Ganze auf einer Höhe von 350 bis 550 Metern etwa. Hauptrebsorten sind Garnacha in den Variationen Blanca, also weiß, Negra und Peluda. Zu denen komme ich gleich auch nochmal. 90% des in Katalonien produzierten Garnacha Blancas kommt aus Terra Alta. Und 30% der weltweiten Produktion von Garnacha Blanca kommen aus Terra Alta. Also Terra Alta ist wirklich die Region, die sich mit dieser Rebsorte Garnacha Blanca etwas auf die Fahne geschrieben hat, möchte man sagen. Ganz kurz zu den Böden. Auf der einen Seite haben wir die Panalböden. Hier oben sieht man den Namen. Panal, man sieht es auch immer auf der Rückseite der Etiketten von Edetária sind die Böden mit aufgeführt. Es ist eine versteinerte Sanddünenböden aus dem Quartär, hier sehr schön auch im Schnitt zu sehen. Dann haben wir die Tapasböden, das ist das, wo der Christoph auch davor sitzt, wenn ich das richtig sehe. Hier sieht man sehr schön die unterschiedlichen Bodenhorizonte. Es sind schlammige Böden mit Tonmaterialien. Dann haben wir den Tapas Blanc, also den weißen Tapas, flache Böden mit Mergel, carbonhaltigen Fragmenten. Und zum Schluss noch Kodols, also wirklich diese Kiesböden aus dem alten Flussbett, wo die Kieselsteine oben auf der Oberfläche deutlich zu sehen sind. Jetzt nochmal zur Rebsorte Garnacha. Ein paar Zahlen. Garnacha in Katalonien wird insgesamt mit 5.837 Hektar angepflanzt. Hier auf dem Bild sehen wir auch sehr schön, dass Garnacha eine mediterrane Rebsorte ist. Also ist nicht nur hier in Terra Alta selber, sondern auch in anderen Regionen, wo Garnacha angebaut wird, bis nach Frankreich rüber. Dort heißt es Grenache, aber die Rebsorte kommt aus Frankreich. Garnacha Blanca, die wichtigste Rebsorte ist natürlich Garnacha Tinta. Garnacha Tintorera ist zwar eine Kreuzung aus Petit Bouschet und Alicante, also Garnacha Tinta, wird aber eigentlich nicht wirklich zur Garnacha-Familie gezählt. Garnacha Peluda, kommen wir gleich nochmal zu, 66 Hektar. Und dann gibt es noch die fast unbekannte Rebsorte Garnacha Rojo, also die rote Garnacha mit 36 Hektar. Und von diesen 5.800 Hektar sind in Terra Alta 2.980 Hektar. Und im Vergleich dazu im Priorat 750 Hektar, Montsant und so weiter. Man sieht also, Terra Alta ist wirklich die Heimat von Garnacha. Und hier sehen wir es auch nochmal sehr schön, die 3 Garnachas, mit denen wir uns jetzt gleich befassen. Garnacha Blanca als erstes ist eine Mutation der Garnacha Tinta, entlang des Ebro-Tals und in Katalonien anzutreffen. Über die Aromen brauchen wir jetzt hier, glaube ich, nicht großartig sprechen, weil wir werden sie gleich im Glas haben. Aber körperreich, cremig, eher zurückhaltende Säure. Garnacha Peluda, auch eine Mutation des Garnacha Tinta. Man sieht es hier auf dem Bild, die Blätter haben eine haarige Blattunterseite. Und daher kommt auch der Name Garnacha Peluda. Etwas höhere Säure, dafür aber weniger Alkohol als der Garnacha Tinta. Und Garnacha Tinta, sehr stark im mediterranen Bereich vertreten, lange die meist angebaute rote Rebsorte Spaniens, sehr facettenreich, von viel roter Frucht bis hin zu blumigen Anklängen. Aber das Tolle, das Eindrucksvolle, was wir auch gleich bei den Weinen von Edetária sehen werden, Garnacha spiegelt sehr schön den Terroir-Charakter wider. Also Garnacha ist wirklich ein wunderschöner Begleiter, um Terroir zu schmecken. Und das Schöne ist, aktuell erlebt Garnacha eine große Renaissance wieder. Ein paar schnelle Worte noch zu Edetária selber. Der Name des Weines, des Weingutes, stammt von Via Edetana, also einer alten Handelsstraße aus dem Römischen Reich. Und mit diesem Namen will Juan der mediterranen Kultur und die Geschichte würdigen. Hier sehen wir das Weingut auch etwas aus der Ferne. 2003 erbaute Weinkeller ist ein modernes Gebäude, das die katalanische Strenge auf der einen Seite mit modernem Design sehr schön kombiniert. Alle Elemente, also Weinberge, Keller, das Tal an sich, Pandols, Cavals und auch das Potzgebirge verschmelzen mit größter Achtung für die natürliche Umgebung, und das soll einfach dieses Szenario ergeben. Im Weinkeller an sich geht es dann weiter. Die Trauben werden von Hand gelesen, sodass die allererste Auswahl schon im Weinberg erfolgt. Dann eine zweite manuelle Selektion findet auf dem Sortiertisch im Weingut selber statt. Und die Verarbeitungstanks sind klein gehalten. Sie sind so konzipiert, dass die verschiedenen Terroirs und Rebsorten bei der Weinbereitung noch voneinander getrennt gehalten werden können. Und dann gibt es noch als letzte Folie natürlich den Holzfasskeller. Die Reifung erfolgt in Fässern aus französischer Eiche mit 300 und 500 Litern Fassungsvermögen, wobei die Holzfasslagerung soll die Aromen nicht überdecken, sondern es geht eigentlich darum, den Charakter zu bewahren und die Nuancen der verschiedenen Weinberge hervorzuheben. Ich werde jetzt die Präsentation stoppen, damit ihr uns wieder voll sehen könnt. Und dann können wir nämlich jetzt auch langsam aber sicher mit der Verkostung beginnen. Ich würde vorschlagen, dass ihr alle mal den ersten Wein einschenkt. Und zwar der erste Wein ist der Terra Selección Blanco. blende das mal mit ein bei mir. So, here we are with the first wine. The Via Terra Selectio. We are with a, not with a cuvée, it's a Garnacha Blanca pure, I would say, isn't it, Juan?
Well, first of all, thank you very much to be here with all of you. It's really my pleasure to be the representative of the whole of Catalonian Grenache and to have these possibilities to make this presentation. First of all, what is white Grenache? Mainly, it's the best well-adapted grape for this Mediterranean extreme climate. Why? Because all leaves are completely adapted to retain water. And that's the key issue to make fresh wines in this Mediterranean extreme climate. Which are the main specialty here? It is the soil, the panel soil that you explained. It's all sand dune, and all the Via Terra selection is made in this special soil. It is unique in the wall. It is more than 7 meters deep, sandy. That means it was all this from the air in the quaternary area 40 million years ago. And that means it's not water retention. That means the plants are obliged to go deep looking for the water, and they give us these special flavors. Well, first of all, which are the main aromas from the white Grenache? In terms of flowers, in terms of fruits, it's always white flowers, white fruits, but very special, very Mediterranean fruits and flowers. That means the first thing is fennel flower, anise flower. That's the key issue. That means if you feel when you taste, if you feel the tropical fruits, this is not tropical trees beside me. Maybe there is the almonds tree, and you can find these almonds, white almonds flowers as well. And in terms of fruitness, the main thing is the white fruits, a kind of white pear, and in evolution, it's a cantaloupe melon. This special sweet aroma from, and that is very typical. From all vintages from this old Garnacha Blanca, they appear some petrol aromas as well. I mean, it's nothing to see with your Rieslings, eh? Sorry. It's another kind of petrol, but it's a very nice evolution.
What I really like with this wine, it has this great balance between the fruitiness, but you also have this terroir touch, as if you were really tasting the soil.
The mineralic is very expensive in this wine. So to feel the terroir more than other wines.
Yes, as you explained in your introduction, Grenache is able really to show the land, and this Garnacha Blanca shows this minerality, this soil. And sometimes I taste the old wines that my grandfather makes, was an enologist, and he makes some rancio wines. It was because the white Grenache is so structured that when you crush the grape, suddenly all the terminals required oxygen. And that was a hyperoxidation, it was a rancio wine. But right now that we control this oxidation, the only thing they left is something that already we'll find 100 years ago, that was the saltiness. Right now you feel the fruitness, you feel these sweet fruits, but when you take in your mouth, you feel this saltiness at the end. give the opportunity to the Garnacha Blanca to make a very special gastronomic wines, because there is this well-balanced saltiness that helps to eat with. That for me is a key issue from the white Grenache. The white Grenache must be always, maybe you can taste this one here like that alone, but it's a wine to eat with. Really, there are wines to eat with because they are so complex, so structured. But the key issue is always the main boon from the white Grenache is alcohol. Alcohol is sweet.
Yes.
But well managed, that means combined with a nice freshness, we obtain these full-bodied wines. That's the key issue. That means if you try to make a little bit more production per hectare, the problem is you obtain unbalanced grapes. That you obtain wines without freshness. Okay, and the key issue is the harvest moment. The harvest moment for a white Grenache must be minimum at 13.5 degrees in alcohol. And this is the moment that the white Grenache will express this full body. But of course, in terms of viticulture, we need also to obtain the freshness. And because we are in the Mediterranean climate, extreme climate, it's very difficult to find out. If we can obtain with white Grenache and working very precise in the vineyard. That's the key issue. That means obtaining the correct moment to the correct ripeness, and later on, if you try to produce more, later on you obtain unbalanced grapes. That means the key issue in Gobelette, as well in the Truly, it's the Truly or the Gobelette must be open to the air in order to keep the freshness on the grape. That's our key issue. And as I told you, Pierre, later on when we prepared the tasting 1 week ago, I explained to you that there are two winds.
Yes.
One comes from the sea. The sea is in front of us, less than 50 kilometers. And this line is called Garbi. And this is a humid air that arrives in our land. And at this moment, every evening, you can see the leaf of the vineyards that they open, they absorb the air, and this air comes from the sea and they brings this saltiness. At the beginning, I always say that this saltiness comes from the soil. But it was the year that we planted a new vineyard and we fermented separately. And it was a young vineyard I was to taste. And direct from the tank, and it was already salty. And that brings us the opportunity to see that it's not only the soil, it's also the wind.
And how do you manage to keep Garnacha at this alcohol level of only 13%? Do you pick very early, so in August already, or how do you manage to do so?
That's a key issue. Take care. If you harvest too early, the problem is that Garnacha Blanca brings some bitterness.
Yes.
and later on, the only way to avoid this bitterness is with sugar left, or is working with some barrel in order to catch this bitterness. No. The key issue is viticulture. Is we try to keep all the grapes on shadow. That means in this extremely Mediterranean climate, please don't touch the leaf. That's the first and key point. Leaf will protect the grape, and if the goblet on the Truly are really open, the air goes inside, and that means they can obtain the correct ripeness, but without losing the freshness, the acidity. And it's so easy like that, so easy, so difficult. That means we have to prune in winter time, and later on right now, we have to prune very open in the goblet, and for example, in the double cordon of Royat, it's always, we need only one surface area of leaves. If you, for example, maybe it's a little bit too technique, huh? If your truly it's white like that, these grapes inside never obtain the correct ripeness, and they will bring the bitterness. If your truly is like that, the air goes in both directions and they can obtain the correct ripeness, because the sunshine in the morning will bring in this side and the evening will be in this other side. That means the full grapes in the truly will be ripened at the same time, and that's the key issue.
Wow, that's really...
That means it's really precise. We are obliged, because it's the sunshine that obliges us to manage like that.
Yeah, that's a science in the end.
It is a know-how. I don't know.
When we taste the next wine, we can see the difference about the Via Terra and Via Edetária, and the quality and the salty in the wine.
Well, but right now is Via Terra red, I think, huh?
No.
No, we continue with the second white, I would say.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. I confuse. I take my bottle. Sorry.
Also, entschuldigt, dass wir hier in Englisch reden, aber ich denke, es müsste eigentlich für die meisten von euch in Ordnung sein. Wenn Fragen sind, wie gesagt, ihr könnt sie hier unten einstellen, bei Fragen und Antworten. Ich habe gesehen, ich habe im Hintergrund zwischendurch das Video laufen gehabt, um so ein bisschen mehr Eindruck von der Region zu bekommen, aber es läuft halt in der Dauerschleife, wird halt auch irgendwann langweilig und macht das Ganze ja nervös. We're now changing to Via Edetária Blanco. So there we're with a cuvée of Garnacha and some Viognier. Yep. And the aging, has there been any barrel aging at this wine already, or not at all?
Yes, in Via Edetária white, there is well, the first and main differences is that the vineyards are minimum 40 years old from white Grenache. That means at this point, they reduce a lot in terms of yields, in terms of production, and they will bring more full-bodied wines. That's a key point. And at this moment, we try to ripe on top this white Grenache, and we harvest around 14.5 degrees in potential alcohol. That is already not bad, huh?
Yeah.
But at this point, we discovered that one grape, it's Viognier, harvest earlier on time. They bring us the freshness, more acidity, avoiding this bitterness that white Grenache brings, okay? And we try to play in this assemblage, this 70% white Grenache and 30% Viognier. But we grow with the white Grenache on top in maturity, okay? And that means we harvest around middle of September, and Viognier we harvest at the end of August, really fresh, around 12 degrees in potential alcohol. Well, later on, when the two fermentation are finished, we make the first assemblage, and later on the wine goes just half into the barrel, but just half the wine to work with the lees. And the other half remains in still tank, just to keep the full freshness, okay? And that is the key issue, the key point. That means the first one, via Terra selection, we can feel the full fruitness of the white Grenache. And here we have a step ahead. That means we are already in the mineral world. Thanks to these old vineyards, the white Grenache, in this 40 years old, they can achieve minimum 4, 5, 6 meters deep, the roads. And that means that is an increase in complexity, okay? And when you smell, we never can imagine that we are in the Mediterranean.
No, it's really
that remains something Atlantic. That remains something salty. Huh?
Yeah, this mineralic salty point is even more in this wine than in the Terra we had before. This is incredible.
Yeah.
The higher acidity, I feel at least, is this due to Viognier in the cuvée?
Yes. Then, yes, that means Viognier well ripened. Of course, they arise some pruning, some special ripened aromas, but we are not looking that. We are looking just the freshness of the Viognier. That means when you taste in your mouth, you say, wow, it's a white Grenache. There is not Viognier inside. Viognier is just to make like that. That the freshness at the end, okay? I think Via Terra wants to offer a wines to enjoy life, to enjoy Grenache, and Via Edetária already offers wines to make this step ahead in terms of minerality, in terms of gastronomy. We can go ahead in terms of more wine pairing.
Yeah, I think, as you said before already, also the Via Terra, these are both very gastronomic wines, because we're not talking too much about fruit, about floral, but we have this very mineralic part of the wine.
Yeah.
And we have a well-balanced acidity, so which matches very well with a broad selection of food, I think. And
later on, I love Via Edetária because you can feel on top of your tongue this cream, this elegance of the cream, and at the end is just the way to enhance the freshness, huh?
Yeah.
And always at the end is the saltiness. Clicks, it's like that some spiciness at the end is thanks to the saltiness, huh?
Oh, the aftertaste is very long, very nice, very pleasant. So great balance and incredible. I'm getting hungry when we're talking about food here.
That's my problem. That's my problem. Well, Via Edetária for us it's already the wine, you know. Also, you can feel already because we are tasting a 2018, because it's always better taste 1 year after. That means Grenache, when we will taste the reds, I will return to this explanation, needs less and less wood and more bottle. In times on the bottle, you can obtain some finesse that we never obtain with the wood in this aging time. That means for me, as you show, the picture of the wood, of the barrel rooms, all are 300, 500 liters, but less and less time putting the wines in the wood, because we feel that sometimes we lose something, and something important. In the other hand, if we bottle and we left the wine calm, we can obtain this evolution of reduction on the bottle that is really complex. This is a top of complexity and elegances, and that's the point in Via Edetária. 1 year after that, never taste a good white Grenache the first year. Yeah. And for example, last year we proposed in different pairings with the press, different vintages of Edetária selection, our top, and it was unbelievable because we go till the vintage 2005.
Wow.
And depending on the different reigning years, we obtained completely different wines. But that means, and the key was the years with a lot of rain. When we talk about of rain, it's 500 liters. So that's nothing. That's nothing. And but the regular is 550 liters, as you show in your picture. And well, these average vintages brings more Mediterranean aromas, but less freshness. That means less difficult to make a good evolution, okay? Because freshness helps for the correct growth of the wine. But these years, these vintages more fresh, brings less body, maybe less Mediterranean, but time to time they offers a very, very special wines as well. That means that's nice, because for example, this year we will have the opportunity to make one of these wines fresh, okay?
John, how many bottles you produce from this wine, Via Edetária?
Via Edetária white, we are around 40,000 bottles.
And talking about special things, Garnacha Blanca is a varietal with a strong body. Could it be an idea to make something like an orange wine from Garnacha Blanca? Are you playing with that idea?
Well, right now on fashion, a lot of my neighbors are making orange wines with Garnacha Blanca, but this is our origin. That means when I was child and we make wines with my father and my grandfather in the classic cellar, it was always brisat. That means orange wine. That means, but we put in the tank not only the skin, but also the steams.
Ah, okay. So you really have a tough aroma.
It was really strong wine. It was very full bodied, huh? With that means and a lot of oxidation inside, and well, I think one of the challenges will be to obtain a good orange wine, but without losing the characteristics of the soil and the variety, in my opinion. But it's just one opinion, huh? Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry for that. The freaky wines go too much in the other side. Mm-hmm. Okay, that means if everything is oxidation, and everything is oxidation with the skins, well, they are good wines, of course, but you lose a lot of things.
Yeah.
When we discuss it about how we use correctly the boot, also a lot of my colleagues use too much. And when I begin to sell the white wines around the world, people say, "Oh, white wines from Spain, too oaked." Yeah? Well, right now that we obtain the correct balance, I think a lot of people it's making very pure wines related to the grapes and related to the soils. Go to the other part, that means to the extremely hyperoxidation or hypermaceration with the skin. We obtain other aromas, but we lose a lot of this pureness, a lot of this character of this minerality. And it's a pity. But the challenge, in my opinion, will be to obtain a good orange wine. Mm-hmm. We are working on.
Okay, so we will see what happens in the next years, and I'm sure that if you begin to bottle something like that, it will be a good one.
Well, thank you. We will see. We will see.
Okay, let's switch to the Via Terra Tinto.
Okay. Well, we just changed color.
Yeah.
As you explained very well, there are 5 different Grenache in the wall. And in Catalonia, we have the chance to have the 5. But as you see, there are the Tintorera, Roja, that in France is Gris, and Peluda, this Lledonner Pelud as well. They are very, very limited. That means just 50 hectares in total Catalonia is nothing, but they left that they're really working on preserve these grapes. For example, in my objective in my life is right now to select the correct clones from Garnacha Peluda and Garnacha Blanca.
Okay.
Because there are only 66 hectares of Garnacha Peluda you show us, and we own 6 hectares. That means we think that we are obliged to obtain something about that and avoid that we can lose this grapes, you know. Well, this is the Via Terra selection. It's 100% Grenache. Here in Terra Alta, we call this Grenache Garnacha Fina, but it's the regular Grenache. Why Fina? Because the grape is a little bit big. That means less color, as you can see. Okay. But in terms of aromas, is the pure Mediterranean. That means it's this red fruits and black fruits. And as I told you before, in Via Terra selection wine, there are wines to enjoy life. That means they are not wines to think too much in minerality or in complexity or looking for something big, special. They are just to enjoy. That means it's full freshness, a good body, a nice end, but just to enjoy, not think about. It's enjoyable and showing the Mediterranean countryside.
But even if you say it's just a wine to enjoy, for sure, I agree. It's a wine to enjoy, but I think it also has quite a lot of character and personality. So I think you made a very nice balance between the two of the things, having character and balance and having the everybody's darling style. So it is not too special, not too expressive, but you have a wine which shows very nicely, and you wish to drink the second glass, the second bottle, because it's so agreeable.
Yeah, that's the main objective. That's the main objective. Go to the second bottle.
Yeah.
Like stuff. Always we when we explain to our clients, always say, yes, it's a perfect wine for the wine to the glass, but you will finish a bottle easily. That means you go only on the glass.
And for me, you know, if we go a bit more inland in Ebro Valley, we have also a lot of Garnacha, but the wines are very strong. They're like bodybuilders.
Yes.
But in the first moment, it shows fantastic.
Yes.
But you cannot finish the bottle, in my opinion.
Yes.
And this is the problem of this wine, the so-called problem. You finish the bottle far too quick because the drinkability is so great.
Thank you. Yes, it's our main objective. We want that the people enjoy this kind of wines in an easy way. That means, but easy way don't mean a basic way. Means a singular way. Because
it's a good wine for restaurants, for the good food pairing, to starting with the fruit of sherry and red fruits and a little bit acid. It makes a good entry for the day.
Yeah, and always at the end this touch of saltiness as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it's the result of working in the cellar in the pureness. That means avoiding the make-up for the wines. That
means for me, it's the terroir. This is typical. Yeah. You feel it in the wine behind.
The terroir to make this Grenache is just beside you, Christophe. That means, let me, Pierre, explain just a little bit about this terroir, because it's really exciting as well. I don't know, people can think that we're a little bit crazy about soils, but it's the main difference that we can offer. This soil that is beside Christophe, it's a tapas soil, but this tapas soil in the technical words is margas versicolores. That means different colors of mark deposition. That means there are different marks, different labels of soils that they grow below the sea, because all the Terra Alta was a sea, okay? And when this sea disappeared, in some periods of thousands of years, the sea reintroduced again to the land. And that's the reason why there are these different colors of reds, blues, green, is the period that the land was below the water. And because the land was below the water, these main minerals suffer a reduction. And that's the result of this color. And if we work with vineyards that are more than 30 years old, the rods goes deep and they obtain this complexity. That means there is magnesium, manganesium, oxide of fer in the middle. That means this is life. This is the soil. It's also a life part of our world, you know, and we have to obtain the maximum that these soils bring to us, and that's it's unique. That it's a very complex soil, and later on we have to respect in the cellar in order to offer pure. That's the way.
Great.
Thank you, Christophe.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really great balance, great wine. Even if it's your entry level, but entry level, which is not boring at all, which is just showing, you know, for me, if a winery makes an entry level wine or the basic wine with no good quality, it is a great risk, because the basic is the fundament of everything. And if you build a house on the fundament which is weak, what happens? It will break. So this is a perfect fundament to grow up better stuff on top. And yeah, I think let's look for the next one, the Via Edetária Tinto.
Yes.
To see what differences we can see with the next wine.
Just to finish this, sorry, Pierre.
Yeah.
Just to finish about that, and about this explanation that you bring, is I remember one of my first trips to Doina in Augsburg, and Ralph Kastner said, please don't show me the top wines. We suppose that you make really good top wines. Let's taste the entry. If you are able to make a good entry, we can continue to discuss. That is true, because in the entry levels we have to show also something special, because normally some entry levels are to make up wines.
Yes.
And well, this is the way, working with people that helps you to growth also in the ideas.
For me, it's an entry wine with a lot of personality, with a lot of character. Entry wine would be something, would almost be not a nice word for the wine. For other wineries, it would be almost the premium wine. And but it shows that you start at a totally different level of quality than other producers would do.
Thank you.
So Via Terra is again a cuvée. We have Garnacha Fina, Peluda, and some Carnina in the cuvée, or
no? Via Terra is just Garnacha.
No, sorry, Via Edetária.
Yes, Via Edetária it's Garnacha both the peluda and fina, but mainly fina, the regular Grenache. It's around 30% Shiraz and 10% Carignan. We can say that is a Rhone Valley assemblage. Well, also this is the old vineyards, more than 40 years old. That it's the moment, as well as the Via de Tana White, to show this step ahead, this a little bit more. That means normal the vineyards from Via Terra, they produce around 6,000 kilos per hectare, and for Via de Tana, because they are 20 years oldest, we produce around 4,000 kilos per hectare maxi. That is very low, but it's the way to obtain this complexity. Okay, that means Grenache is in the nose. This is in the entry. Shiraz, it's very nice because the middle month is very dynamic, and from the reds, I enjoy a lot the Carignan. Carignan always is fresh, always brings the possibility of some spicy notes at the end, some complexity at the end. But when we are in this extremely Mediterranean climate, thanks to the Garnacha Peluda and to the Carignan, we can enjoy a good fresh assemblage, and that's the key. And well, really, it's a step ahead related to Via Terra. Via Terra is good, and here we go in a different level. That means it's very nice. Maybe it's not so expressive in terms of fruitness, but it's a little bit more complex. Already you feel some minerality, and later on in the month, sorry.
The depth is incredible. You have it in the mouth, and it stays on your tongue, in your mouth for ages.
And this Shiraz in the middle, it's this, in this wave that arrive, and later on is the Carignan that strength until the end, and it returns later on, all the fruitness. That means it's a kind of go and back. It's a kind of go and back. It's interesting. And let's pay attention to this structure. Huh? This is already very serious structure. That means for me, the bone of the body of the wine, it's very important to say, well, we are already in a serious way. Huh? It's not only fruitness, happy, and no. There we are really, it's a block. Eh? Yeah, it's a block that goes inside, but always with this freshness. Huh?
It's serious, but it's also smiling. So it's a very positive seriousness.
Yeah.
And again, just like with the white wines, and also with the Via Terra Tinto, the drinkability, the wish to take the next sip of the wine is very strong. And this is, for me, one of the best things wine can have to make the people continue tasting, continue drinking the wine.
For me, the fruit of the palate going up and down, what Juan said, and with the acid and the salty coming back with the terroir. And this is very deepness. And it's not ganache monster, what you don't like it. It's elegant from the beginning to the end.
Well, this is our main objective, to make wines that show our land, but in this appearance of elegancy. That is the most difficult thing, to express something singular, authentic, and at the same time a little bit elegant. No? That's the main difference. To make, when you say we make wines, well, we make wines, but a little bit.
I think this is one of the main points, that you are playing, no, that you are working on elegance. Elegance sometimes is difficult for a winery because in big competitions, the wines are not seen because they are too elegant. But in the end, for us, for the people drinking it, for the people in the restaurants, it is much nicer to have an elegant wine than a blockbuster.
Yeah. I like to say that elegant wines, sometimes it's so easy. Everything it's put in the correct way. That's elegance. That means it's not necessary to offer a blockbuster in your life or in a muscle man or very muscle everything. No. It's just not needed. It's just put in the correct way. And sometimes it's just one touch, one aroma, one finesse at the end. Some nuances in the taste. That is elegance.
It's rather like a ballet. Yeah, you have the dancers, very nice, and everything in a very nice choreography.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, something, you don't know what, but something works.
Yes, it does.
Easily. That's the key.
And if I read that the wine has been for 12 months in French oak, the oak is almost invisible. It is just a nuance of everything. And this again is for me elegance.
That is, I had three obsessions more or less. One is bitterness that I talked to you in the white wines. That means
Yes.
I can't with bitter wines. Another one is oaky wines. That means oak must be there, but in the correct way. In the final is the freshness. That I think that in these three words we can say how Edetária make the wines. That means finesse, not oaky, but well balanced, and fresh. I think that the common denominator for all the wines in Edetária is that. Well.
Yeah. Let's switch to the next wine, which is the, let me see if I have the right, the Edetária Selectio.
Yes.
So we're back to we're now mainly at Garnacha Peluda.
Yes.
Then some Garnacha Fina and un tocco de Carignan.
Yes. Let's explain a little bit of this Garnacha Peluda. What is this Garnacha Peluda? It's a mutation. That means, as you know, the vineyard is able to adapt in different climates, from Champagne till warmest areas in Canarias, for example. And well, this Garnacha Peluda, it's a mutation. It's a mutation. They appear the velveted leaves that you show us in the presentation, no? Mm-hmm. But it's very irregular vines because there is not a clone selection. That means very irregular means that the viticultures select his own vines. And they make the vineyards, and normally the enologists arrive and they say this is not a good wine because a good grape because it's very irregular. You can arrive in one vineyard and you can obtain 3 different level of ripeness, and it's very difficult to make a good wine like that. That means for us, it was very difficult to make this Garnacha Peluda, but we know that it's fresh, and we know that it's with a very nice structure and with a very special nuances, some anchovy saltiness. It's a oceanic wine.
Mhm.
You know what that means? That means we are in the Mediterranean, but with these touches of oceanic wines. And for us was really a challenge. And as I told you, we begin to select this Garnacha Peluda to make our own selection, and we are there and making this with a strong job that will along minimum 6-8 years to obtain different clones of this Garnacha Peluda, later on to offer for all the viticultures that they want to use, because I think it's very nice. In between, the question mark is we are obliged to go into the vineyard and to harvest 3 different times in the same vine. In the first passage, we make a rosé.
Okay.
The second passage, we make the Via Edetária, and we only left the small grapes and to make Edetária selection. And we are the honor that this year the government of Catalonia select the 12 wine, if Vino de Finca that you told before, and Edetária selection is Vino de Finca. That means it's a single plot. That is a wine that comes from a single plot. And they offer very special, they show on the top, the area. That means the Vinos de Pago in the rest of the Spain, there are also single vineyards, but they are not obliged to work in a denominación de origen. Vino de Finca in Catalonia, we are obliged to be in a denominación de origen. That means we are obliged to be there, and the wine must show the thought that a denominación de origen, in this case Terra Alta, can offer. And there are just 12 wines in the total Catalonia, and this is the Edetária selection. It is this 60% of Garnacha Peluda.
And it's the only one in Terra Alta.
It's the first and only in Terra Alta.
Yep. This shows again that you are a pioneer there.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, not better, not worse, just like this.
No, but I think this is really a wine with a fantastic balance of all things I look for in a wine. You have minerality, you have structure, you have fruitiness, you have this herbal part. Then you have this more salty part again. So it's really great. And now, if I imagine today is not the big summer day, but a barbecue outside with a top, some meat on the grill. Then you have this wine. Oh.
Yeah. It's a terrible moment to begin to talk about food. Sorry.
but for me, very important is the salty feeling in the beginning of the palate, and then the fruit coming, and it's very long, and there I feel the wine is very close, so it can age long time in the cellar, or you can drink it now. This is very good.
We are right now with a vintage 2016 that it's right now in the wonderful moment to enjoy.
But in 17 you produce this wine. In 17 you produce this wine also.
Yes.
Okay.
We are ready to bottle tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, just a small detail. Huh? Yes. Yes. In my opinion, they offer these Mediterranean aromas. These herbs, this garlic forest, these herbs, so complexity, and that is thanks to the Garnacha Fina. Okay, the Garnacha Peluda, it's more this wild touch, and these wild aromas. Okay, and at the end there is a vineyard of 94 years old Carignan. in this soil that is completely white. It's limestone, very poor. The production is less than 1 kilo per vine, of course. I mean, it's nothing. Some years it's just 2,000 kilos per hectare, but they brings this freshness and this complexity at the end. I mean, I think that the Garnacha is really good, but the couple with the Carignan, it excels. It's something different. And we also made a wine 100% Carignan from the vineyard, this old vineyard, and it's called La Pedrissa. It's 100% Carignan. It's something different. I mean, we are really proud with Grenache, but I think we will make in the future a top wine with Carignan. We will see.
Okay.
Okay.
Because there is nothing to see with the Carignan. The top Carignans for me are, you can find in Priorat.
But Priorat is not so far. How far is Priorat for you?
35, 40 kilometers.
But
But
the difference is crazy.
The soil is completely different, and you obtain very finesse but very strong wines from Carignan. And here there is just like a line, you know, a line of elegance, something like that. But all the fruitness, all the Mediterranean comes from the Garnacha.
Great.
So let's ask our viewers, are there any questions? So if you have questions which have not been answered so far through our discussion, the first question is coming in. So great. Elke is saying, great. I think these wines show a great opportunity to be presented to our restaurant guests, and I'm sure some will match perfect to some of our menu parts. Thank you very much, Elke, for this for this mentioning. I'm sure about that, because the wines are elegant and they do not go over the menu. So it is a great balance. They are very gastronomic wines. Thank you so much for this great comment, Elke. And Thomas is writing a technical question. Is the Via Edetária aged in new or used barrels?
The question is from the red or for the white?
For the red.
For the red, it's 3 to 5 years old barrels.
Yes. So it's not fresh.
No.
You always use the used barrels, so that the oaky taste does not interfere with the fruit and with the terroir.
Yes. The point is that we use for the first and second year, normally the wood is really marking the wine, very strong. And there is a small secret for all of you. We try to use the first year with the white wine. I mean, white wine allows us to velvet the barrel, the wood, okay? I mean, the first impact of the wood, it will be never in our red wines, okay? That means for the Edetária, it's first year, second year wood, and later on they goes to Via Edetária until 5 years, sometimes more. It depends on each barrel. Because the same tonnelier and the same kind of barrel, sometimes at 4 years you have to fire, and sometimes they grow until 7, 8 years. Nobody knows why, or never totally explained. But it depends on the cut. It depends on the toasting. It depends on a lot of things. But always the toast that we use is very special. We try to avoid the makeup. That means we try to make a very soft toast in terms of appearance to the wine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Stefan is asking another more technical question. Do you use for fermentation wild yeast or do you add yeast?
For Edetária, it's wild yeast, and for via Terra selection and Edetária is the selected yeast, but always without important impact in terms of primary aromas.
Mhm.
Because if not, you lose the minerality. But because we are working in real high alcohol, we need some selection to finish the fermentation, okay? And but for the Edetária selection, we already use the wild yeast, but we are also in this part improving a lot because we are making some selections which, well, let me just briefly for the people that is really interested in yeast. Well, in one plot, they can be 100 or hundreds of different yeast. And if you make a pressurage of some grapes to make the pied de cuve, okay, to make the fermentation, how you assure that this fermentation it's started and finished with the best yeast in terms of developing the fermentation, the aromas, and respecting everything. You can't. That means the only way is really making a mapping of the yeast of one plot. And one important issue, the yeast are related to the soil, not to the grapes. That means a same soil with white grenache or red grenache, the mapping of the yeast that you can find in this plot is the same. But if you move to a different plot, this plot will be different because the yeast fly, okay? And they stay in the soil because the character of the soil, not because the character of the grapes, okay? Of the variety. That is a very important point. That means we are selecting right now the autochthon yeast related to the soils that you present, Pierre. Wow. And I will be able to introduce to you some wines already fermented with this yeast. But first of all, mapping hundreds of yeast and looking on the microscope, and depending on the morphology, you select, you make a mapping, and you say, these are more or less this group, more or less these forms, these ones, these others, these ones, and these ones. And later on, you make micro fermentation with one in this point, in this map. And later on, you observe what's happened with. That is a good selection of natural yeast. Selection of natural yeast going into the vineyard, pressing with your foots, and making a natural fermentation, that is not natural yeast. That is the spontaneous fermentation, but with nobody knows if you finish will be or not. Okay. Well, sorry, I'm very romantic. I'm very proud with my soils and my grapes, but I'm also engineer, agronomist engineer. That means I like to manage some small details, and I leave some spontaneous things also to obtain complexity, but not. But I can assume some risks, but not others, and that is my view. And this is not perfect, huh? I know, and some.
No. We're all humans, and humans cannot be perfect. But for example, what I have learned when I got to know you and we were talking, you took over in the end, or you built up what your grandfathers have been doing. So respecting the nature, looking back to the roots, to the terroir, and this is something in the moment which is it is modern, at least in Germany, but which is very important, I think, to respect the past, but also look to the future.
Yes, that is the only way. That means if you want to be authentic and different, you have to respect your origins. And origins is your climate, it's your soils, it's your autochthon vineyards, and also it will be our autochthon yeast. But controlling which autochthon yeast you are working with. And it's very easy to say I'm making this spontaneous fermentation like my grandfather did. But what about the vineyards? Why the enologists, there is a very small group of enologists talking about grapes, about the vineyards and the selection of the vineyards. They go to the Nurse and they buy one Grenache, or they buy one Cabernet, or they buy one Carignan. But where comes from this Grenache? This white Grenache comes from Italy, Cananau, or comes from French South, or comes from Terra Alta. And this white Grenache coming from the French South, it will be the same phenotype, the same expression of the genetics after hundreds of years working in Terra Alta or working in Ribes Altes or Roussillon, or they will be a kind of adaptation to this area. That means that we have to pay attention at these important things, that is vineyard, that is soil, more than yeast. Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
That is my
I absolutely agree, because the microclimate, the terroir, which is including the winemaker, the microclimate, the soil, this is by far more important, but it can be covered by a yeast which just covers and makes a certain, or which pronounces a certain type of aroma.
Yeah, yeah.
But that would be makeup.
Well, look at this. 20 years ago, only talk about barrels. Right now, everybody on fashion tries to talk about special cuve, ceramic, amphoras, cement, all the granite, plastic, that are full of range of different recipes to make the wine, okay? And right now also they're talking about yeast, and nobody talks about the vineyard, about the vines. For me, it's a key issue. You have to put our focus on that. It's one of the most important things. And you say another one, Pierre, is the know-how. That means it's in your area. Always the thing was that you have to try to understand why. For example, my father, viticulture from 50 years, and that was the explosion of the chemical industry. And sorry, the consultants try to explode and to say you have to put this product and this product and this other product. And well, the last 15 years I put nothing in my vineyards, nothing. And right now I can discover in the natural growth of the plants, that there are some areas with deficits, with deficiencies. And I made a microanalysis, and maybe it's some micro element. But all the vineyards, all the soils around the world are completely exhausted and unbalanced because this agriculture in intensive agriculture, okay? And right now, we try to work in a different way. Suddenly, you can perceive when you are working on the vineyard that they arrive, birds that they disappear from years, and suddenly they arrive. And why they arrive? Because they are eating these small birds that they are in the soil, and these more insects on. But all of these microorganisms disappear from long period of time, the last 50 years, because this intensive agriculture. And right now, the new generations, we are more sensitive, and the news coming to recap and to rebuild these soils, this structure, and this life in the soil. That's key.
And that takes a lot of time, because until the soil recovers, it's not from one year to the other that you can just switch. It takes a lot of time.
No, yes, absolutely agree. But it recovers, eh? It's able to recover, eh? That's the key.
We have to do it, and that's what Elke is just writing. She's writing, I like your philosophy, Joan. She really likes the way you are doing the things. There's a nice question now coming in from Stefan. I told earlier that you use little fermentation tanks. Another vintner told him also that big tanks would be generally not good for the wine's development. What do you think about this?
It's true. That means the practice is, the knowledge is just one tank fermenting. It's just following one fermentation. It's easier to work. Well, here in Edetária, we are fermenting in 300 and 500 and 1,000 liters, and a lot of the small receipts, but it's the same quantity of work for a small 300 liters fermentation that for a big tank. Because the follow-up is the same. That means you have to follow everything. And yes, when we work with a more or less big tanks, there is a inertia development inside the tank, that there are different fermentations in the same tank.
Wow.
And different developments in the same tank. And I'm talking about my biggest tank is 50,000 liters. 15,000 liters. That means don't go to other companies that one day visiting one company in Champagne, it was the assemblage tank 2 million liters. Huh? Okay, forget it. It was Champagne. Huh? But
just go to Mancha. There you have parks with 15, 20 tanks outside of 1 million plus liters.
Yes. And well, in these tanks, there are different developments in different labels, depending on the concrete temperatures and ecosystem in this part of the tank. And also, if you try to make the homogenization, we never obtain in these big tanks. In the other hand, when we work with a small tank, just putting something to remove, like the batonnage, it's everything is homogeneity, and you can develop yourself far away, better small and small, but more work, sorry.
A lot more work, but in the end, as we have tasted, the product is by far better.
But we are working per 60 hectares Edetária, on hectares and just a few rented, but in total 60 hectares, and we are more than 100 different plots.
Oof.
And we try to ferment these plots separately just to obtain these nuances from the soil and from the differences. And later on, it's a time to say, well, we make our first assemblage before go to the booth, before go to the elevage, no? Before to the aging time.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, you make one tank of 3,000 liters and you put in 10 different barrels, and it's the same wine, but you obtain 10 different wines. Because each barrel develops himself, his own inercy. It's unbelievable. And it's passion as well, because sometimes you discover something special. You say, wow, and why? And why? You say, I don't know.
¿Por qué?
¿Por qué? Ni idea. No lo sé. I don't know.
But that is the mystery. This is the things which probably will never be discovered why it happens, but it happens. And it's good that it happens. And sometimes these special barrels are bottled as cuvée spéciale or as barrel selection.
For
Yes.
once, no? Maybe for once.
Why not? Because if you feel that there's one barrel which has developed in a totally extraordinary way, why not do it? But
Why not?
you
Why
know,
not?
in Germany we have this thinking that a wine always has to be one varietal, one vineyard, and so on, is the best one. But cuvées can be much better sometimes, like a chorus, where you don't hear the single voices, but the chorus is giving much more expression, like a chorus of different grape varietals.
I like to say that we develop four different single vineyards in 4 different wines. That is Personal, 100% Garnacha Peluda, Pedrisa, 100% Carignano Old Vineyards, Genuina, 100% Garnacha Fina, from our oldest vineyards, and developing his own character himself. And I like to say that it's a wonderful concert of piano or flute or violin, but the cuvée is something more.
Yes.
When you can play with the cuvée, you can obtain a kind of orchestra finesse. That means one day you need some piano player, unbelievable, it's wonderful, but cuvée, I agree with you, most of time, it's the wine where we try to develop our own character and where we feel really proud to make our best thing. And maybe it's not the most expensive, maybe it is not, but it is something like you want to express like that.
Great. I think these are the perfect words for the ending of the session, because we had thought about an hour, but now we already have 1.5 hours. The time went through. It is incredible, because speaking to people like you, Joan, with all this philosophy, with all these spirit, the time flows, and thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for the YouTube. There is 23 people still hearing us. It's unbelievable. Thank you for all of you, and I hope to have the opportunity to come with Christophe to visit all of you and to explain all the details that you required to know. And thanks to believe in our wines. It's our pleasure.
Yes, thank you too. And here's a nice word of Isabel. Moltes gracias a Juan. Thank you for not giving up Peluda, the wild one.
Gracias, Isabel.
So, thank you so much, and see you soon again.
See you.
Hopefully all safe. So, keep well, and see you soon.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Danke.
Bye.
Tschüss.